Hi, everybody. It's me, Carol, from Healthcare Potholes with Christian Faith. I'm going to talk a little bit about miracles. I've had some really good miracles happening here. On Thursday, my boy started having dribbles out in his urinary stream, and I was very concerned. And so I called Friday, and I got him into the soonest vet that I could. And they said collect a urine if you can and bring it in. So I did that. It did not look good. It looked gnarly. And I thought, well, we're just probably dealing with a bladder infection. Well, he had to have his rabies shot. And while he was there, he said, well, I'm going to do some lab work on him. And I'll do his heartworm with the lab work and we'll see what we got. And they said, I'm going to do an x-ray. And so he did, and he came back that he had bladder stones and pretty full in the bladder and into the shaft. And that was an expense I wasn't expecting. And so we talked about it, and he says, well, he's going to have surgery pretty quickly. And I thought, I can't afford it. I'll go see what I can do. Well, it's like everything is on, will be coming, but it hasn't come yet. So Saturday, he gets up, my dog Max, and this is my electrolyte detection dog that detects my low mag. So he gets up and he's doubled over in pain, he's throwing up, he's just not doing good. And tears rolling down his eyes and just in misery, and he just had drip, 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 drip out. Not a lot. I was very concerned. So then I said to him, well, the only thing I can do, Max, is pray. I don't have the funding to pay these, doctors. I called all over to all the vets at the emergency room for you with the way you were when you got up this morning. And I says, they want anywhere from 7 to 10,000. I don't have it. 7 to 10,000. I don't have. So I had to have another cup of coffee. So I went into the cupboard and there was my glass. Good morning, this is God. I'll be handling all your problems today. And I said, God, I got a problem with this dog. He's one sick dog. I can't afford to do his care right now. Everything is coming, but it's not here. And I just don't know what to do. I'm devastated. And can you help me? Can you help ease his pain? Can you help him not be throwing up? And they put him on antibiotics as well. So he had at least, by this point, 2 pills. And so he went ahead and he had all this issue. And turned it over to God. I'm following what I preach. Turn it over to God. Or what I say. So that's what I did. And Sunday morning he got up and he walked out of his crate, walked down the stairs without doubling over, and he had a little bit of a stream out. And that was music to my vision. And I thought, boy, that's really good. I'm glad that's Max now. Now he hasn't been barking until today and yesterday. So he's starting to get his watch duties back. But he started to urinate a little bit, not full stream, just, and then he would drip, and it was still going out frequently. He was still throwing up a little bit. We tried different small frequent meals on him, and he kept some food down. And Monday he seemed a little bit better. Tuesday a little bit better. Now Tuesday I spent running him to the doctor. Now they also found a mass up under his left front leg, and it came on, I think, pretty quickly. And so they wanted to wait to biopsy it in 2 weeks. And I said, no. As I was thinking about it over the weekend, I said, what if this is cancer? Then why put him through this? Just leave him live his life, and what happens, happens, is what I was thinking, and I didn't really want to do that to my electrolyte detection dog because they're hard to come by. So called out to Remrock, and they did a needle biopsy, and he checked it. And he's done my other dogs that I've had in the past, and it came back a lipoma, which is non-cancer. So he's going to have that removed after he gets his stones done. And so that's where I'm at. And so he will have that done after I can, save and scrimp and save and scrimp and save and scrimp and save. And so I've done a GoFundMe page. And so far I've only raised $145 for my Max. I have I turned out the doctor's name and clinic so that they can put the funding in at the clinic if they need to. So I did that. And so I'm hoping a miracle happens for Max and I, because we really could use a break. So as I'm sitting here doing my video clips, my phone rings, and it's the vet. He wants to do surgery this Friday on my Max, so we'll have to keep him in our prayers. He's working with me for the funding. So I told him, I said, well, I'm going to try to do what we can. I says, I have a little here, a little there, a little here, a little there, and that's all I can do. So that's what I'm going to do is he's got to have 2 surgeries. They have to open up the shaft so he can pee like an ostomy out. And so hopefully it won't, he'll pee through that hole and not through his shaft, and he'll knock the stones back up in the bladder, and he'll start to urinate out of that. So it'll be a little different for Maxie. So I don't know how we'll deal with this, but we'll find out. It's going to be a big surgery on Max. So he goes in Friday, and I'm hoping for the best. I think he's got a very good surgeon. He seems like he knows what he's doing. I said, I'll leave you call it if you think you need to do that extra opening on him, when you get in there. And he said, well, I think, maybe we should with as many stones that are in the film. I'm very concerned. I think Larry was too. And so that's 2 vets that gave me second opinions, and they both conferred. So that's where we're at. So in the meantime, this is the season of Easter, and there's a lot of, and that was another thing. He didn't want him to block with it being around Easter Sunday coming up. So, and I'm trusting God that everything will be okay, and he'll come home and he'll recover and he'll feel like the old Max was, minus the lipoma we got to get removed. But the Catholics have had a lot of things happening to them over there at their churches. And with communion, they use a Eucharist, like a little wafer for communion. And over the weekend, I was sitting with some quiet time with Max and talking to him about things and crying. And they came on 3/5/23 at St. Thomas Catholic Church. I think it's Tom Caston, Connecticut. They have a Catholic church there, and the priest was doing communion that day, and they have people that take care of the Eucharist that they use, the little wafers, and then they're like in a cerebrum type container. And when he went to get into the container to prepare for communion with Eucharist, there wasn't a lot of Eucharist. It was very little. And he closed it up. And the next time he opened it, it was full. And there's only like one person that prepares their Eucharist, maybe 2. But the other guy didn't put anything in there either if he was helping, but you know what I mean. It was like all of a sudden there was nothing there, and then for the communion it was multiplied. So they're sending it over to they call the Vatican and stuff now. In the Bible, Jesus did multiply fish. He multiplied loaves of bread, and he multiplied wine, and he can also help multiply finances. So I'm hoping. So while I was sitting there, the guy that was talking about this miracle in Connecticut said, by the way, they've had other miracles with the Eucharist. You know, they don't give them long to talk. And he said in 213 over in Poland, now it's called Leneka, Poland, Eucharist had fallen on the floor, and they put it in a jar of water to dissolve. And when they did that, it was streaked with red stains. So they sent it out for forensic testing. And it came back cross-striated muscle, similar that to the heart muscle of a human. Yeah. So that was kind of interesting. And that was in 213. And then in 2008, the Eucharist again had fallen over in Poland at Sokolda or BA. And that one they put in to a jar of water, because this is what the Vatican tells them to do if they drop a Eucharist. It has to go into a jar of water. And they had red streaks as well, and it came back. I want to read what the impression they had to send it out to forensics. So this is forensics coming back. Altar fig of host tissue identical to heart tissue of person near death. So identical to heart tissue of person near death. And that was in 2008, and that was what their testing showed. And then in 2006 in Mexico, down at the diocese in Mexico at the CHILPANCIZO in Mexico, they had another substance where they had dropped the Eucharist and they put it in water again, and this time the water appeared bleeding. It was reddish and bleeding. So they sent it out to forensic, and it came back hemoglobin and DNA of human origin. Now that was in 2006, of human origin, DNA and hemoglobin of human origin. And then over in India, they had the face of Jesus appearing on the Eucharist in 2001. So Jesus is really moving, and I want to say that very strongly. He is moving like you wouldn't believe. So we're trying. He is trying. It's just wonderful that he is working on things. So miracles do happen. And now they want to do surgery on my dog on Friday. And I don't have the income yet. It's, I got to get the income in. So I'm hoping that we can get it going. And the doctor saw that I called back at the clinic today and, told him what I was trying to do. And, I asked him if I could do that. And it would be okay to set up a page for Max there if, people want to donate. So I did that. And so they know I'm trying to find funding. So Max is very important. He detects my low magnesium, and I have to have him. I can't be without my baby. And then I have the Drama King, Coffee. I call him my Drama King. I should have named him Drama King instead of Coffee. He's the silliest dog. He went out and he came in, and I have this big ridge at my doorway coming in through the door wall, because I have an oversized door wall. And he hits it with his feet because he don't clear since he had a slight stroke. And and it hurts his toes. And I understand it hurts his toes. It's just like when we bump into a wall or something. And so he was barely moving today, barely walking, really limping. And I said to my brother, I said, oh, just give him a Dosiquin. He'll be fine. Give him one tonight. So anyhow, he's been lame all day, and he's been, I don't know what he did in the pen, but he seems to do something in that pen of his. So I decided this afternoon I was going to get the bed off the top of Max's pen, and I have one bed that's left over from my previous dogs, and it's been washed and it's clean and everything, and I keep it up there in case I need it for one of them to lay down if they want to on the bed. So I put the bed down, and all of them would just go over and smell it and walk away. They would rather go to their crates. Isn't that interesting? Well, Coffee, I need to break down sometime and get him a bigger crate. But anyhow, he is a drama king, and so I said to Gary, I said, just give him Dosiquin for a couple days, and then he'll be fine. No more than 2 days. And he just stoved his toes. I says he's putting full weight down. He hasn't broke anything. And so as I was telling the vet my story about my dog Coffee, he was laughing. And he thought that was pretty funny. I think he knows I really love my dogs, but I just don't have the funding to take care of them like I should. This is the first time I've had it rough, and not being able to find work and not being able to do this and that. So anyhow, that's where I'm at. But those are all miracles from the Catholic diocese and from around the country. And we had one here in Connecticut, so up in New England on 3/5 of 23. So I just found that very interesting. It's like if I had those miracles going on, man, it would be all over TV and all over everything. But my dog had a miracle with the stones moving a little bit so he could pee and get a little relief and not rupture his bladder, because I was concerned about that, and I told Jesus and God I was concerned about that. And they're helping Carol through things. They're going to help me through this. We're going to get through this. I just have to be really really working on things. So anyhow, that's what I'm doing. And I have a lot to get done. I sent my brother back up to the post office because he forgot to stop, so he went back. So he's got to go to wound care in the morning, and I got to call my doctor. They're starting to pull things back, so now I'm starting to get text messages, you owe $83.96 or whatever. So now I have to call and say, did you rebill Medicaid? And so there's going to be a lot of that going on, and I'm aware of it because I know what's going on. So I'll have to call and talk to them, and they're aware. They have the Medicaid number. They just didn't put it in and bill it like they should. So they need to go back and rebill that 20%. It'll be all right. That's for my neuropathy treatments. It was a strange number. I'd never seen it before, and now I know why. So it came from the nurse practitioner from her office. So anyhow, I just thought that was really interesting from all those dioceses. And I guess the Catholics, they take and they call the Vatican and they talk to the Vatican about what they see, and then the Vatican tells them, you guys send it for forensic and where they have to send it. And they got a real strict protocol that they follow for the Eucharist. And I never knew that. I never knew that at all. So now I've learned something. It expanded my religious base knowledge, which is good. And now at our church, at the Methodist church, we just use grape juice and we use a loaf of bread that we cut up. And that's it. So we don't have special equipment we put things in, but we find out. So anyhow, I just wanted to say, everybody, have a good evening. I gotta go get dinner prepared so we can have dinner at a reasonable hour. And definitely keep my Max in your prayers, Maxwell. He's set up as Maxwell Sundell at Canton Animal Hospital on Michigan Avenue. So there is a couple animal hospitals, but it's the one in Canton, Michigan, the 48188. And Dr. Dollywall is the one that's going to do his surgery. So he's not there tomorrow, so he's doing it on Friday when he's back into that particular clinic. These surgeons rotate around to different clinics and do it. So he says, I have a full schedule at another clinic, and he says, but down here I can help you out. We'll help you out. So I thought, that's really nice. I mean, when you have a dog that suddenly gets sick like that and you don't just have the funding, now I know I'll have to pay for his lipoma, and I'll probably do another GoFundMe page for that as well. So you just don't expect it. I mean, he had been doing so good, and then all of a sudden, from Wednesday to Thursday, he just did a drastic change. So and, keep me in your prayers as well. I'm going to a new urologist who doesn't know me. My main urologist is so busy he can't fit me in till almost September. He's that busy. So I'm seeing his partner. So keep me in your prayers as I had some more testing done, and very concerned about my bladder infection not going away. So I'm chilling to the bone and very weak and very, I just want to go to sleep. And so I just pray. Oh, that was the other thing I wanted to say. I had Surf Pro come from Romulus, and they evaluated my house. And I have an 8-foot puddle up in the attic that is causing black mold up in the attic. And my cabinets are going to have to be replaced because when he pulled the trim off, he damaged my cabinetry. Plus, I have black mold coming out from under my cabinetry. So they're going to do a lot of work, and they're going to relocate us for a few weeks or whatever it takes to get things up and fixed. So I have to sit there and pick things out and go through all that. So my clips might get less frequent, but bear with me. We'll be back online. But just know that God is the God of miracles, and Jesus, they do miracles. And I say I had a miracle when he came down and was outside my changing room, and he touched my face and healed my tooth area and told me to forgive. And because I was asking about my blood sugars, and he said forgiveness. So there's a lot with forgiveness. If you start forgiving people, and you start making amends to people, you start feeling better. So it's an important thing. So anyhow, some people don't like to hear that because they like to hold anger in and grief in and all that stuff and not deal with it. So, and then, trying to blackmail someone is not appropriate. Slandering someone is not appropriate. So, I don't participate in that stuff. I'm beyond that. I'm too sick to participate in that. So I don't pick battles anymore. I just go about my life and do what I feel I want to do, and I'm a very free spirit, and that's where I'm at. So, okay. Love you all. Have a good evening, and stay faithful. Stay looking for those miracles. Ask Jesus for some miracles in your life like I have. And I really appreciate this surgeon helping me out, and Max, and I'm hoping I can get enough funds raised to cover his bill. 3,500 is the bottom line of what it's going to cost to get him through this, and so I'm hoping and praying. So, okie dokie. Okay, thank you everybody, and have a good one.